Good morning. How are you, Strawberry? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, you had to change, you had like to put the mic on.
Yeah, I had to plug it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had the same issue last time.
Because you can't change it if you're recording. So now I don't know how to introduce this. We should just start, right? If you were to pick one positive thing that happened this week, what was it? I'll go first. One positive thing that happened for me this week has been just being able to hang out with a few of my friends and just seeing them and kind of soaking in all the good energy and just the positivity. How about you, Strawberry?
I had the chance to spend time with my cousins and also my sister. So it was very nice. That's the thing. Yeah.
Nice. Well, after this beautiful note of positivity, good morning, guys. This is
Good
Mango.
morning. And strawberry.
Welcome back to Mango and Strawberry. We have missed you. Hopefully, you've missed us.
I hope so.
And-
Yeah.
But with no further ado, we can definitely jump into our next wonderful topic of conversation.
Yeah. Which is the friendship in adulthood. Is it like an easy mission or impossible one?
You guys tell us your experience.
Yeah.
Here we'll be sharing a bunch of ours. Some stories end badly, others nicely.
Yeah, it depends. And I think that, for example, I have like an anecdote about that, that most of the time you grew apart because you have like a friendship that started like young or younger. And at some point you're like, you don't have the same interest at the end. And that's okay. And I think that the best thing ever for me, the best way to end a friendship, no, if you can have the best way, is that just growing apart, still having like news from each other, but not being like in a cold war.
I totally agree because sometimes we think that once two people in a friendship grow older and interests divide or they even move further from each other, sometimes you either forget about them and every once in a while you'll see each other at all of your old friends or even at each other's like events.
Yeah.
But just because there's distance doesn't mean you can't maintain a friendship. And that doesn't mean talking every day, putting in all the effort. It just means that every once in a while, check up on your friend.
Yep. I agree with
Say,
you.
hey, how are you? Because you no longer have that tightness, that connection, but you have a history. All that grew was difference in entrance or distance in location or just we are at different stages in our lives. We don't need each other that much. Where I am in life and where you are in life don't match anymore. And that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you can't grab a coffee.
No bad. My impression is like people will think that if you grew apart, that means that you cannot check up on each other and just being like, hey, how are you? It's been so long. Just to take news. And I feel like people think that if you grow apart and you don't like hang out all the time like you used to do, that means that it's the end. But that doesn't mean that. I think
I,
it depends of the personality of the persons.
I was going to say, I think it's very different for you and me in a sense, for the only reason that we had two sets of lives, two sets of friendships. So it's like we keep in touch with the people in other countries, or at least try to. So I have my friend, and she's been one of my closest friends since I was in second grade. We've been tight. Like, if I have to talk about a consistent friendship in my life, it's been her. And moving to the US, a lot of my other friendship not necessarily fell apart, but you kind of realize that me and this person don't have any topic of talk, like of discussion, unless we have buffers around us, like other people talking, and then we kind of jump. But with her, it's different. So every once in a while, because we don't talk as often, time difference, being busy. But I'll call her and we laugh, we joke. We don't even talk about serious stuff. 3 hours later, we're like, okay, I have to go.
I used to plan calls with one of my closest friends, and I was like, okay, this weekend or this Sunday, we're going to call each other. And she was doing the same thing with me. And we spent like 2, 3, 4 hours sometimes just talking about her life, my life, and what is happening, what happened, and everything. It's like good memories of and just checking on each other. And also, I have one friend that I had like I think in my bachelor, like first year of bachelor, and we used to do everything together. And after she moved, and I moved for my master degree, and we kept in touch with each other. But after she moved, like in the south of France, I moved in the US. But we at least try to see each other once a year, if not like every 2 years. Well, doing just something, the two of us, to catch up and just being like all time. And every time that we are seeing each other, it's like we never left each other, because we have a lot to talk about, and we laugh, and it's like so good to have that kind of friendship too.
And I think now it's time to kind of define what at least the both of us think of friendship. Friendship is a chosen, close relationship of mutual affection, trust, and support between people.
Yeah.
I love that definition of friendship.
Me too.
It's trust, mutual support, but the key word there is a choice. Meaning you can leave whenever you want to. You are not locked up. This is not prison. You are not sentenced forever.
And I like also the trust part and the mutual help, like kind of, because sometimes you have friends that will just be your friends because you are a good listener, because you give good advices. So they use you in a way just to help them. But when you are in pain, or when you want to talk, not necessarily in pain, but when you want to talk about just something that happened to you, for example, in a mall, whatever, like not even something deep, they will not be there for you.
Nobody's there. Everybody's far away.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is so true. And you need to find those good friends. And I'll be honest, like with my church, we had a women's event, okay? One thing that the pastor said, like, she said, I have a table of 7. And I was like, what is that? Tell me more. And basically, 7 of her closest friends, 7 people she knows, she has a deep connection to. And that made me pause and say, I want that. I want not necessarily a table of 7. I want a table of people who I know. I really thought about it, and I was like, we need to be intentional and very People say, "Oh, you're so picky when it comes to relationship." Even your friendships, you need to be picky. Pick your friends carefully. Not everybody should have access to you.
No, I think it's so true about that. I think that the one sentence that when you talked about that, like pick your friends and pick them wisely, is that
Mm-hmm.
do not put people in a position of priority when you are an option for them.
Words of wisdom. The episode is over. Let's go wrapping it up. This was great, guys. You got what you needed. I got what I needed. We're going. 15 minutes in. Golden. We're golden. And cut.
You're so funny.
Thank you.
Yeah, but that for me that's so true. I mean, you will make time for people that do not deserve your time. If you are sparing time for people that don't care about you, like I mean truly care about you, they don't deserve you. If you are putting everyone top like top one when you are top 20 or top 250, for example, that's not okay, because you are spending energy, emotional energy, which is like for me, it's not only about like physical energy, it's about emotional energy. And those type of people that will not put you first like you do will put you into like a guilt trip if you're not there for them only one time. Like, for example, if you're not available, like that one time, they will say, "Oh, do you remember you were not there for me, blah, blah, blah." And you, as a person that is trying all the time to be there for them, you're like, "Oh, I'm not a good friend. I was not a good friend at that time." But it was only one time. So there is like this whole like priority thing, the time, the emotional energy, and also the guilt trip where people just try to put you in a position where you're not a good friend, but you are.
I will say, I'm going to go there now, but I have also seen that in some situation, people make their friendship, romantic relationship expectations.
Yeah, true.
I am your friend. I am not your lifelong partner. Unless we have both agreed on we are always there for each other, meaning any time of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like even in friendship, eventually you'll be busy. It is true that you will fumble the ball, you will make mistakes. You are both humans,
Yeah.
and you both need to have grace for each other.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. And I mean that, and most of the time, the people that have that kind of behavior, they will not be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you will be the bad person. I will be the bad person. I will be the bad friend. And that person will talk about it to everybody. Like, oh, strawberry was not there for me. She left me, like she put me on the side, blah blah blah, whatever. But at the end, I can also think about myself sometimes. I cannot always be there for you. That's not humanly possible, even if I am trying very hard to be there for my friends like all the time. At some point, my energy, emotional one, is just like taken.
I get drained. Yeah, you get drained too. You need the break. You need the rest. Um, but this is like good because it gives everybody an idea of we are not stating that we are expert on friendships. That is not the point. But we're also pointing out that these are some ways friendship can quickly turn red or yellow, but also the beauty in friendship, because we started by talking about how you can keep friendship, the flame of friendship going regardless of where you are, but to also watch out for certain signs.
Yes.
And just going back to the idea of trust, mutual choices, you need to know that if you feel like it's time for you to get out of one, do so. And this is about friendship as an adult. And we know it's hard because sometimes you want to stay with that group of people, whether or not they are fueling you, they are pouring into you, because you are afraid of how hard it will be to make friends after leaving that group.
Yeah, that's true.
The truth is, being drained is not healthy for you.
No. And whenever you feel like you're drained by someone, I don't think that it's a good relationship for you anymore.
Exactly.
And that's easy to say, but I had those relationships where I was drained at the end of the day, and I was like, no, but she or he needs my help, so I'm gonna be there for them, for he or she. But at the end, at some point, I had to break that because it was taking all my energy, physical, emotional, everything. My brain was just thinking about the problems that they had. And I was like, okay. And I was trying to be the fixer, you know.
Yes.
And at some point, I'm like, my intention is to help them, but I have to help myself and get out of this relationship, this friendship.
Your sanity is as important as anything else, because we all need to think about it this way. Your body, your mind, and your soul needs to be taken care of. If you are good with you, you are good with others.
Yes.
So if let's think about it as a vase with water. If you leave water for too long, it starts turning bad. You need to make sure that you freshen the water, change the water, and constantly keep track of it. Because the second the water starts getting slimy and moldy, it's gross. Nobody wants that. But that's kind of the same idea if you're a friend who never, if you always keep getting drained and nobody's pouring into you, because you have to take care of yourself, but your friend should also help with that. So like, what are you telling others? Like, you want to help them, but all you have to pour out is slimy smelling water. So even that, in your good intentions, don't always appear like that. So just prioritize you taking care of yourself, because if you take care of yourself, you take better care of others. Why is it so hard to make friends as adults? Because there is an article by the in the NIH National Library. It's about it's a magazine, and the article is in that magazine. It's From Neurons to Neighborhood: The Science of Early Childhood Development. And in that article, they literally talk about how it's so much easier to make friends as kids, but the reason is we have interest in imitating people and wanting to be like those around us who are not adults. If everybody is trying to be like everybody, it's easier to make a connection. For the purposes of this, the idea is, as a child, you have that desire to connect. You haven't been hurt, betrayed, and like stabbed in the back yet, so it's very easy. But as you grow older and you kind of develop a sense of what humanity is, at least in the sense of like not everybody is good. When you get to young adult age, most people have graduated college, have been working, starting family. You are all at different stages of your life, making it's so hard to connect. So that's one of the reasons why it's so hard. But Strawberry, what do you think?
I think that when you are an adult and in a friendship, you're not looking for the same things either. Because, like you said, you had experiences, good, bad ones, like being stabbed in the back by the friends that you thought that was the best friend ever. And at some point, you're just taking a look back at your friends. Take for example, like a group, and you're like, okay, do I still want them in my life? Do it's not about people bringing something into your life, but not only most of the people will not have issues bringing problems into your life. So if you do not have any issues bringing problems, why do you not have any issues bringing good things to my life, into my life? So when you think about it, you can, when I say that, I can sound like a little bit like I'm using people, but that's not the thing. It's more about they bring me positive things and I can bring them positive things. And that's all about trying to help each other at the same level. No one is no one is above the other. Everyone is listening to, I am listening to your problem, you're listening to mine. It's like mutual respect. And I think that respect is also important. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Um, a few more like example of why it's very hard, other than different stages of life and are you pouring equally in your relationship. There is making new friendship. I think we have talked the main aspect we've been talking about is current friendship, maintaining them, when to get out of them. But the
Mm-hmm.
hard thing about making new friendships as adults is the lack of common areas of together. Finding people you share an interest with is hard too. Spaces to
Interests
meet.
and values.
Exactly. Like you even have, like we talk, you're on different stages of your life. So how do you handle that? Effort, we just talked about it. Like, is the person you're looking to start a friendship with pouring as much as you are? Like, are you matching each other, basically?
Yeah.
And genuinity and authenticity. That one I really loved because as friends, we need to be authentic and genuine. Like, you can't just pretend.
No.
There is no friendship that is like what you will have is not a friendship if it's based on pretending and acting. Like, we are both not getting anything.
No, yeah. And I don't think that it's possible to have a friendship where you are pretending to be there for them or being like a good friend. And again, the definition of a good friend depends on how you think about the friendship. But I think also that when you are an adult, there is like kind of the new set of rules about the friendship. And the thing that I know is that when you are younger, you want to have a lot of friends. That's because you want to be the cool person. You want to be you want to have good relationship with everybody.
I think
That's how the children works, like the brain, the emotions and everything. But when you grow up, you don't want that many friends. There's like quality over quantity. I mean, you have maybe fewer friends, but you have deeper relationship and deeper bonds.
yeah, no, that's true. And that's why I really love that. And also, two things, like the two like last things about why it's so hard. It is past hurt,
Yeah.
but also expectations. What am I expecting from you as my friend? But the secret is, have I communicated to you what I expect from you? Because if I have not communicated with you, you will never know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So are we basing friendships on, okay, we all watch High School Musical, we want the best friendship, we want to be singing in the hall. I'll be honest, people, let me burst your bubble. I was that girl, I didn't get that. Okay, but I have now I'm making friends. We share interests. We
Mm-hmm.
like the same thing. Story time. I At my church, I do student nights. Afterwards, the leaders, we stay, like, we'll clean up, and a small group of us usually stays a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
And this past Wednesday, what did we do? You will not believe. Because this made me so happy to a degree that doesn't even reach understanding to myself right now. We played High School Musicals. We played Camp Rock, Lemonade, and we were singing. Okay, three of us were singing, like screaming. It was amazing. I was like, this is the kind of friendship I've always looked for. I need people like this. You need to know what you're looking for, but also be ready to be grateful for the things you don't expect.
Exactly. That's the thing that
Yeah.
most of the people will forget about. So happy for you to hear
Uh,
that. Sounds like very fun.
how can we make meaningful, long-lasting friendship? How do you meet those people? How do you get those people to want to be your friends? I know this is a tough question because I can say the how. Number one thing is put yourself out there.
True. Yeah.
Find your people. But you get social media too, in a sense, that kind of help you extend on that. So it kind of become your virtual friendship. But those, like, nobody is negating those. Those are great. You get your community, you get your people, you get close to some people.
Yeah, because I think that, for example, the social media, I'm not sure about the dating app, but the social media, at least when you are far away from your friends and they are posting like stories, pictures, whatever, you're like, oh, this is so cool. And you like the story, so you acknowledge them or you respond to the story, you respond to a picture, whatever. And you start a conversation maybe you wouldn't have started. So there is that. So I think that's kind of a good thing. Sometimes you have friends on social media where they are not really your friends anymore. And I feel like it's kind of intrusive at that point because you're watching the life of someone that you don't talk to anymore. So there is like this thing where I'm not feeling comfortable with that.
There is a saying um, that says, show me your friends and I will show you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very important to know who you surround yourself with. Just like we're talking about, whether you meet them on social media, before I even go there, when you make friends, if you make virtual friends, that's great. You need people in person. People who can give you a hug when you need one. People who will be who are close enough that if you text, hey, I need a coffee check, they say bet, when and where. Because you need that community to also be physical. You need it to be something you like can, in a sense, touch, because you can touch that person. And so when we say put yourself out there, we mean it. Like, go out in the world. If your goal is to make friendships, be thoughtful about it. Who am I going to meet? That is not to say that all the being friends with all the people is not beneficial. It is. You gain wisdom, you gain like support that you don't always gain from people around your same age group. But you also have to have people in your age group that you can connect to, that you can relate to. So take a few classes, painting, pottery, cooking class. I mean, it is
Once to me too. I had like it was in Paris. I was with my sister, and I was going to a restaurant, and the tables were like very very close, and so we were sitting, and at some point there is like two-person coming. So there were two cousins, a woman and a man, and at some point we were talking about, I don't remember what we talked about, but they asked us a question, and they were like very older than us, and we just started talking to each other, and we spent like the whole like dinner together, and we just shared stories and everything. It was very cool. But we were, my sister and I, at that point, open to that, and it depends on the mood of what you are looking for.
Yep.
Sometimes you are
And
open, sometimes you're not.
and the thing is, when we say put yourself out there, it's in the comfort of your own safety.
Yeah.
What feels safe to you, do it. If it doesn't feel safe to you, don't do it. Nobody's putting a timeline on it. Nobody's pushing you to do that.
No.
If you want friends, go out in the world, make friends. And this has been actually great, like talking about friendship as adults, because it's funny talking about it now, but I'm sure when we were looking for friendships as adults, it was not fun.
Nope, it was not.
It was a pain, guys. But one last thing I'd like to say is be willing to make the first move. Be bold. Do it. Say hi to the stranger that has a cool shirt. You never know where that conversation is going to go. Now you do.
Yeah, that's true.
So just first move. No pressure, no expectation. Be you, let them be them.
And be comfortable. Don't push yourself too much. Listen to yourself, but sometimes you need a little push also to meet new people and to maybe have great friendships that will last until the end. And don't forget that the friendship is less about constant presence, but more about the genuine connection. Don't forget that.
Yes. And remember that you can make great friends at any time of your life.
Yeah.
One last story. When I moved here, everybody said, college is when you make your lasting friends. That's why you meet your people. Well, I didn't meet my people. All this to say, guys, friendships, everybody has different experiences. The timeline, it all comes down to what are you willing to do. I'm not saying that I couldn't make friendship. I'm going to acknowledge that I was a little bit on the shyer side. Shyer is not a word, but who cares? And also, I was struggling with a lot at that time. I was dealing with a lot, guys. But it was my choice to not seek mutual connections.
Yeah.
It was my choice to not find people I could trust and rely on. You don't need to tell yourself, oh, I am out of school or I am out of this. It will be impossible to make friends. But you also don't have to put pressure on yourself to fit into expectations of, I'm in college, that's where I make my friends.
Mm-hmm.
I have to make my table of 7 in college. No. Your table of 7 either become a table of 14 if you're that, because some people are good
You're
at having
lucky.
more friends than others.
Yeah.
And some people are blessed with having a group of genuine friends. And
Mm-hmm.
also, FYI, that table doesn't have to be, okay, my table of 7 is only going to be women, or my table of 7 is only going to be guys for men. That table of 7 is your table of 7. Who do you want sitting at that table with you?
And your table
No,
7 can be your table 4 or of 2, of 12, whatever number
exactly.
it is.
7 is just a number. That's how it's, but it's your table. So who is sitting across from you is your choice. Otherwise, don't go. That's
True.
all I'm saying. So think about it. Who is sitting next to you at your table?
That's the thing. Last thing, don't forget to take the time to talk to your friends like we did today. More than what I did. Thank you, Mangoberries, for listening to this podcast. I hope that this episode was fun for you, a little bit lighter than the other ones. So I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.
À la semaine prochaine.